Okay, I think we are live on LinkedIn, Anand. Uh, Welcome to the very first episode of the 5% Talk series. So let me first tell the audience what 5% Talk series is all about and what we're going to bring in this series. So this series was born out of a belief that there are people out there who are not just chasing titles, but choosing growth, choosing reinvention and leadership on their own terms. They're the people who think differently, they act intentionally, they decide differently, they lead very differently, and they inspire through action, not just words. And those are the people I bring you here on the 5% Talk series. The bold, the courageous, the curious, the 5%. And this series brings you the voices of those leaders, change makers, professionals who made some bold shifts and have built something real, something purposeful, and something that is lasting enough. And what separates them is their intent, their clarity, their courage. And 5% of series will resonate with the ones who really dare to rise to the next level. And our very first guest sets the tone very beautifully today. With 20 plus years of climbing the corporate ladder, leading global programs with giants like Zensiv and Cisco, delivering excellence across regions, today he is one of India's most trusted voices in career growth. Not a theorist, not a trendsetter, but someone who speaks from experience and writes with edge. His posts are shared and remembered because they speak what most people are too polite to say. So if we go by the stats, then on YouTube, over 135K subscribers he has, uh, with over 580 plus videos in his name and more than 15 million views for his talk show. And 125K followers here on LinkedIn. So, viewers, today we have the man who dares to share Bindas wisdom. Please welcome Anand Vaishampayan with us today. Anand, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Deepthi, and thank you everyone for being here. I I just felt like a celebrity for a few seconds, but thank you so much for that grand introduction. At the end of the day, it's about what you really are and what you really do, and I'm not different than most of the people out there, but like what you said, if there is intent, if there is a clarity of thought, then we just want to follow our purpose, right? That's what I do, and that's what I talk about. So thank you again very much for being here, and happy to share any experience that I have with the entire community here.
Thank you, Anand. You definitely are a celebrity with so many followers online in your name. And first of all, thank you for saying yes to this conversation. It really means a lot to me. And of course, there's so many nuggets that today the viewers are going to take from here. So you have inspired so many people with your practical career insights, your unapologetic writing, I would say, and now with your bold transition, of course. And it's honestly such a full circle moment to have you as my first guest. And it's really an honor to kick this off with you. So, once again, a warm welcome to the 5% Talk series.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I'm glad you started something like this, because I think a lot of people will benefit from these conversations, because people get inspired and they also get some learnings from other people's, uh, let's say, failures or other people's successes. You draw certain things so that you don't make certain mistakes again. So I think a good initiative, Deepthi. Congratulations on that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So let's begin at the beginning. Uh, okay, so you've spent 20 years in the IT industry, uh, working with giants like Zensa, Cisco. You've held leadership roles, worked globally, built what many people would call as a dream career, right? So can you take us through that journey? What shaped you during your 20 years of your career? So in short, your career journey overall, that we would like to know.
Okay, okay, sure. I started in 2001, I think. So that was like some 24 years ago. And in the first job itself, which was like off-campus recruitment, I was in NCR,
Mm.
and that's when I got the taste of layoffs. Right, I that was like the dot-com bubble burst happening in the year 2000, 2001. And after that, 3 4 years, I did multiple jobs. I tried different things, not by choice but by force. And then I eventually joined Zensar in 2004. And since then, I've stayed in the same company for 20 plus years. So I would honestly say that most of what I did initially was not by choice but by force, because I did not have any option. I had to try different technologies, different roles, different things. And that, if I look back, actually was a very good thing, because of what happened to me and because of the trial and error that I did. I learned different jobs, different things, and eventually figured out what works for me. So rather than chasing like the the thing which a lot of people chase, that okay, if I have to get into IT or software, then I have to become a coder, because there is a lot of money in development, right, versus support. A lot of people think that, oh, mujhe, why am I getting into a support project, why not into a development project? Developers make a lot of money, which might be true, but with a lot of trial and error and a lot of roles that I got into, I realized that I was probably a very average coder. And if I stayed in coding or software development, I would compete with best of the people and I would be knocked off. So, like, again, by force, I was put into support projects, analyst kind of roles, and that is where I realized that okay, this is probably somewhere or a place where I can do better. And that's how I started. And then eventually, I think by the time I gained 5 7 years of experience, I was very clear that I'm not going to get into tech roles as such, but more of techno functional analyst kind of roles. And then eventually I transitioned from there into team leading, project management, and all of that. So it's a mixture of by force and by experimentation, trial and error, and then eventually figuring out what is your strength, what is something that works for you, and then I built on top of that. I was never worried about what others were doing or what was working for them. I was very clear, this is what works for me and this is what I'm going to do. So that's how it shaped up, the
Wow, wonderful. So any key turning points, any particular role that actually meant that success to you, or what actually success meant to you then in this 20 years?
I think more than success, if I have to talk about turning point, it would be one opportunity that I got. That was like the first opportunity when I went on site, which was for a client assignment in the US. More than anything else, it gave me confidence, right? So once you are at a client location and once you start to deliver, you face the heat, you face all those urgent request escalations and all those, right? Once you are in that zone and once you succeed in that kind of an environment, then automatically you start to feel confidence from inside that acha, know stuff, I can do stuff, and it is not just that I am relying on other people. Even if I'm just thrown into the water alone, I can swim across. So I think the first assignment which I did in the US, which was back in the year 2007, I guess, that I think changed things for me as a person. I started to feel more confident, and that was evident when I came back. It was like probably a 7 8 months assignment. When I came back, the people that I worked with over here, they told me, Anand, you are a different person now. So that
Wow.
itself was a confidence booster even more, that okay, I realize that it is not just me, others are also realizing that I have changed. And then I think that's how I eventually picked up roles which were more people facing, stakeholder management, project management, and all of that. So that was like a stamp on something which I was already thinking that okay, I should not get into tech roles, and that one
Hmm.
on-site assignment was more of a turning point, I can say.
Awesome, awesome, wonderful. I think then probably that helped you step out of your comfort area and look for more challenging roles and more challenging projects, because then you felt that this is my strength. I think let me just work on this.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And then I started to think in that direction, right? When I was probably a team lead or maybe a senior team lead or something of that sort, then I already started to think about project management. I was already learning or preparing for PMP exam and all of that. So I was already thinking what next? How do I
Yes.
get to the next role? What is the gap between what I do today and what is required for the next role? So skill
Hmm.
gap, experience gap, what do I need to learn? What do I need to gain? I was already thinking in that right direction. So yeah, I mean, once you have that clarity of thought, it helps. I think over a period of time, I believe for the first 5 years, most people are confused. But I think after 5 years, you have decent experience and one should get that clarity. I think that's the most important thing that can happen to anyone.
Yes, absolutely, very important. Wonderful. So Anand, then came the shift. You made a decision many only dream of, leaving a stable, successful corporate role to follow your own path. What made you take that leap?
So I think it did not happen overnight, or it did not happen in a moment.
Hmm.
It happened over years, right? So I was active writing blogs and stuff. This was like year 2012, 13 maybe, right? So
Yeah.
like 13
Hmm.
years ago. So that's the first time I ever wrote anything on social media. And that's how I realized that okay, there is something on social media which gives you that visibility, a distribution. And I never thought that okay, I will probably shift my career or do something full time. No thoughts around that. So I kept writing. Very few people read my stuff, actually, honestly. Nobody read it. I used to just write something on my blog and post it on Facebook, and some of
Hmm.
my family members or friends, well wishers, used to read and comment on it, and I thought okay, that's fine. But one of the posts, which I think was the early post which I wrote, was more of an experience. It was more of
Hmm.
information sharing around a very simple thing like how do you get a passport done for your minor child or something of that sort. I think that is something which I shared because I really thought this information will help a lot of people.
Hmm.
And it did, and a lot of people used to read that post. It went on like number one spot on Google search, and a lot of people used to comment on that. So that kind of gave me a indication that you know you, if you have knowledge and experience and information to share, it can help a lot of people whom you don't even know, right?
Hmm.
And it creates impact. So slowly that thing started to get into my mind that this is powerful. And then eventually so many social media platforms came up, and I tried a lot of things before I reached to a point where I said okay, now this is serious. And
Hmm.
I should take this seriously. So it happened over the years. I tried different tools, different phases. Sometimes I succeeded, sometimes I didn't. But then last 4 years, like we're in 2025, so 2021 is when I seriously started to think that I should pursue it as a full-time thing, right? But I was still not sure. So it still took
Hmm.
me 4 years to reach that decision. Yeah.
Okay. So when did that first urge to do something different actually begin?
Like I said, I was writing these blogs, and after those blogs, I shifted to, I don't know if you guys know or the listeners know, there's a website called Quora.com, Quora,
Yes.
right? Question
Yes.
answer website.
Hmm.
So I started
Hmm.
to write answers to career related questions on that website, maybe 2014, 15. And
Okay.
5 years, I wrote more than 1,000 answers. Okay.
Wonderful.
And I used to get a lot of traction. I did not get a lot of followers, but my answers used to get a lot of views and all of those things. So
Hmm.
again, it it gave me a assurance or a kind of confidence that what I'm
Confidence.
doing or what I'm sharing is reaching to a lot of people and they are finding it useful more than
Yes.
anything else.
It's helping them in a way.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So 2019 is when I said, okay, let me convert this from text format to video
Mm.
format. And that's how I said, okay, let me start something on YouTube. And honestly, I was overconfident because I was getting so much traction on Quora, which I thought was a lot, but today it is not. But back in time, I thought it was a lot. And I thought, okay, if I convert this to YouTube, I will probably scale overnight, right? So a
Mm.
lot of people have this overestimation that if something has worked on one platform, it will also work on another, and it is just a matter of time. They may be right, but in most cases, I've seen we overestimate a lot. Okay,
Right.
so I can tell you, not just for social media, but for anything and everything, mostly I feel it usually takes longer than what you anticipate it would.
True.
So if you think, "Ye mera kaam, this is something I'll be able to do it in 3 years," it will probably take 4 or 5. So
Mm.
whenever we are starting something, we have to keep that in mind, that what is my long-term vision? Why am I even doing this? And what if it does not happen in 2 years or 3 years, right? So like I said, I started with a lot of overconfidence on YouTube and it didn't go anywhere. And then COVID came. And surprisingly, during COVID time, a lot of people started to push a lot of videos on YouTube, and I did the other way around. I stopped. So I stopped, and for 6 months, I did not post anything. And then I realized that, okay, even if I have not posted, whatever I have posted, whatever is there 6 months ago is already getting a lot of traction
Yeah.
and subscribers are increasing. So why am I not posting anymore? So I
Mm.
started again. So it took me like 2.5 years to even get my channel monetized, like 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. It took me 2.5 years, okay, and a
Mm.
lot of videos, probably 100 plus videos, maybe more, I don't know. So it took a lot of patience to get there,
Mm.
and then realize that actually the income that you get from YouTube is not good enough. Okay, so I mean, initially you hardly get anything, right? So then I realized, oh, is it really even worth it? But
Mm.
then I realized that, okay, because people watch now on video because they can see me and feel or relate to me better, now a lot of people started to reach out to me.
Mm.
So somewhere in 2021 or maybe 2022, a lot of people started to reach out to me for consultation, that we are in this career situation. Can you guide us? Can you help us? And then I started
Mm.
to do those one-on-one calls. Uh,
Okay.
One experiment which I want to tell you, which I
Mm.
did again in that same time period, is I posted on LinkedIn that I'm going to take 2 calls daily while I'm driving to office and coming back from office to home. I wanted to utilize that driving time talking to someone, and it was for
Mm.
free. So I told
Mm.
them, this is my experience, and if you think I can help, then message me your number. I'll call you. And I just said that, okay, I don't claim to know everything, but yeah, probably I can help few people.
Right.
So that I
Yes.
did for few days when I used to drive, and that again gave me a lot of confidence that, okay, this is helping people. So more than
Mm.
anything else, to keep it short and sweet, once I realized the impact, okay, by becoming active on LinkedIn and YouTube, then I said, okay,
Mm.
this is serious, and I need to now think about getting organized. Okay,
Mm.
because if I have to run this in parallel with a full-time job, it's going to be difficult and it's a lot
Mm.
of time commitment. So somewhere in 2022 is when I really started to take it seriously. Yeah,
Oh.
after all of this.
Hmm. Wonderful. So, talking about the reality of starting over, and then when you began your journey as a career coach, as a creator, uh, it wasn't just a career change, right? It was a complete identity shift because you already had a 9 to 5, right? You were already leading projects, you were working for an organization, and then again, this identity that you were having. How was that phase like? Can you talk about that phase altogether?
Yeah, so one bold thing which I did, which I think was bold, is I removed my past employer's name wherever I was working. I removed that from LinkedIn. So when I started to write, because most of my content was boundary line controversial, to say that, okay, it
Yes.
can go either ways. Okay, so I started to write somewhere in 2021, maybe on LinkedIn, and I removed that I'm working for this company. I just kept it like stealth mode or something, right? So that gave me a lot of confidence that okay, now it is not going to be seen as my views as an employee, right? It is going to be neutral. And I always maintained in my post that I don't talk about a specific scenario or a specific person, and I avoided all of that. I made it
Mm,
generic, right? And one identity shift I made also is that I changed the headline. So in my headline earlier, I used to write program manager or IT project manager or something working at this company. I removed everything and I just wrote career coach or maybe resume reviewer or whatever I was doing. So it was very clear in my mind that on LinkedIn, people should see me as somebody who can help them with their career or with their job search journey. I didn't want them to see where I was working and what I was doing at my job. So
mm,
even if I have a lot of experience of managing a software development or a support project, that was irrelevant with the image I wanted to paint on LinkedIn. So I did it with a lot of intent. It worked. Okay. And again, I want to be very responsible in saying this, that it worked for me does not mean that it will work for everyone.
of course, correct.
Yeah, I can tell you, very lucky, and I am very lucky with a lot of things, because after few days, one HR from some other company, okay, some
Mm,
XYZ company, one HR lady, she pinged me and she asked me, how are you able to produce and post these kind of videos? Because my company is not allowing me to do that. So I was like,
yes.
okay, then I'm probably lucky, right? So she
Mm,
said, I'm talking about HR and stuff, and I'm putting videos, but my company has raised issues or concerns that I cannot put all of this on YouTube. So I said, okay, if you have spoken about something which is inappropriate or not in line with your company policy, please don't do
mm,
that. But otherwise,
yes.
generic stuff you can talk about. Nobody would have any problems with that. So I think that way, the place where I worked, people and a lot of them were really considerate, and they had a lot
Mm,
of confidence in me that I would not go and talk about anything which is inappropriate. And I maintained that within that boundary. So identity shift, yes, it was very intentional that I wanted to not talk about my IT experience, but about how I can help people sort their career problems or job search problems. So that's what
mm.
I did, and then eventually one thing led to another. Deepti.
Yes, you pointed out a very relevant thing because when I, coach and a lot of mid-career professionals, this is one, point where they come and say that, when it comes to showing up and creating their visibility on LinkedIn, that
Hmm.
Dipti, tell me anything, but I would not want to post on LinkedIn because my boss may think that I'm looking for a new job. That's the very obvious thing that comes to them.
That's
Yes, and then
Yeah,
the
that
second
is
thing is, the moment I started posting on LinkedIn, my boss felt that I don't have much work to do, and then he, bombarded me with some projects. So, how did you tackle this? Did you come across anything like this in
No,
your?
I did not. So, like I said, I worked with some wonderful people, and they were really really supportive. Plus,
Mm,
I also made sure that there was no impact to work, right? So I also made sure that there was no impact to work. And now you have that scheduler, right? So you can write during the weekends and you can schedule posts,
absolutely.
so you don't need to be active in the working hours. So nowadays you can write early, ahead of time, and then schedule it just before the working hours and after working hours, right? So just before 9 a.m. and after 6 p.m. I think that's good enough to stay outside the questions. But again, like you said, a lot of people question their employees as soon as they see them active on LinkedIn. They think, oh, this guy or this girl is searching for a job, and that's why this guy is active. Oh, तो बहुत common
Mm,
है. A lot of
what
people
women?
think about uh, LinkedIn activity as job search only, which is not
Yeah,
the case, right?
absolutely.
Now, another view which I want to share is, a lot of people are also taking their LinkedIn reputation too seriously. Too seriously in the sense, they think that if I hit like on a post or if I comment on a post, what will my boss think? So there's so many people who meet me outside in the real
Yes.
world who tell me that, Anand, we like your posts. We like in the sense we really resonate with it, but we don't hit a like.
Yes.
Because you know what will my boss think? And I'm
Yes.
like, your boss has other works to do. Okay. So people take it too seriously that I am a VP, I am a delivery head, I am this, I am that. What will people think about me? They will associate my reputation with my company's reputation. My voice will be seen as my company's voice. Or they are just building those castles in their mind. Nobody has time, honestly. And
Absolutely.
even if they do, they know that okay, you are an individual and you have your opinions. You can just probably write a disclaimer, right, that my these views are mine, it is not of any organizations. That's it. That's pretty simple. But a lot of people, in my view, it's an excuse to not do things. Okay, let me be very blunt here. A lot of
Mhm.
people think that, oh, if I do this, my boss will think like that. What if my client sees this? It is just an excuse for you to not do stuff. That's it.
Absolutely. Spot on, Anand. Thank you for this. Thank you for sharing this so bindas here. So, coming back to your shift, the transition, can you tell us the day you decided to quit? What triggered it? Or was it already planned that, maybe 1 year down the line, 2 year down the line is when I want to give it a call and then get into this full time?
Yeah. So I think I wrote in one of those posts that some 8 years ago. So after I or just before I started my YouTube channel, I took a 2 weeks break. It was like a thing because I had a lot of leave in my account. So I took a break and I was doing nothing. I was just reading. So I spent 2 weeks just reading stuff and being with my family. And I think that is the time I started to think seriously. And then I started a YouTube channel. But after a few years, like I said, 2021 or 2022 is when I took a second mini break of 5 weeks. And then I did this LinkedIn content or any freelancing calls and all of those things seriously for 5 6 weeks. I did not do anything else but that. And then in 2023, I took a 1 year break.
Okay.
So I kind of took a sabbatical. I was not working full time. I stopped that and I just worked 1 year as a coach, as a freelancer, doing own stuff, right? So that 1 year was a year where I really figured out the financial angle, right? Because whatever you say, at the end of the day, I was not against or I was not feeling bad about my corporate job. In fact, I loved my corporate job till the day I did it because that's the job which gave me everything that I have today. So I have nothing against a corporate job. In fact, I tell people that if you are in the right role, you will do well in the corporate. It is just that if the role skills and the jobs don't match, then you will feel frustrated. But anyway,
Mhm.
so I took that break, and that break gave me a clear idea of the financial angle of how much money can I make through my own think if I work as a career coach or as a creator or whatever. And then I figured out that okay, what is the delta and how things will look like from here if I fast forward this entire journey. So if I stay in the corporate job, what will happen? So today, let's say if I'm a delivery manager kind of a role, in the next 10 years, what will I become? Maybe a AVP, VP, I don't know. Depends on my performance also. So I kind of fast forwarded that journey that okay, where is this road going to go? And then I compared it with where can the creator or the coach road go? And then I thought, okay, I don't have a lot of time to now drag myself into a role where I'm probably not going to give my 100% because I already see that potential is bigger on the freelancing or career coaching side. So I said, okay, now I cannot do two things at the same time. I'll probably just pick one of them. A lot of people think it was too risky, but I don't think it was because it is not something which I did in the first 10 years of my career. So if you divide your career into three batches of 10, 10, 10 years, I'm already done with two batches of 10. So I'm already done with 20 years of work.
Mhm.
Now I already have the last 10. So it's okay. Probably I'll make a little less money, but I will at least be happy doing what I really want to do. And
Mhm.
more than anything else, more than anything else, I will have control over my time. I think that's what I wanted to do, because at my work I used to have these night meetings because our customers were in some other country like US. So we used to have a lot of meetings, almost daily meetings till 11 o'clock, 11:30, 12. And that I did not like. I mean, I used to do that earlier as well, but now I started to feel that okay, I need that time back, I need that control, and the only way I could have done it was this. So yeah,
Great.
that
But were there any phase of uncertainty or, some inner battles that you had to deal with, some fear or some family reactions when you actually said that you are quitting your corporate and getting into this full time? Were there any that sort of a
family.
angle?
Yeah, family reaction, of course there was. So like I said, I took these mini breaks to experiment, and
Hmm.
one good thing which I did is I kept them updated. So
Yeah.
I was very transparent. I told them what I was doing, how this works, what is the upside of it, okay, what is the downside of it. So everybody was aware of what I'm doing or what I was doing. And like I said, you have to slowly start to feed those thoughts. Okay, if you
Hmm.
one fine day just show up and say from tomorrow I'm not going to work, then people will panic a lot. So
Absolutely.
slowly you have to do it with your family and with yourself also. So it's a slow process. I
So
mean, some
process.
people may do it like switch on and off, but it did not work for me that way.
Hmm.
I kept telling them about how this entire thing works. I showed them some proof of what will I do. So
Hmm.
a lot of people think that once you leave a full time job, you are retired.
Yeah.
So what होता है? I mean, people tell me, अच्छा, now you're not working, so you are retired.
Right.
So that retired word itself is such a confusing word in the sense that retired means that now you're not working. Okay,
Hmm.
it's fine that you are not working in a full-time job, but I still have an active income, so I
Yes.
still have work to do. I still need to create videos or write posts or help people or get into Zoom calls, have meetings, and I'm busy. I think mostly 6 hours per day at least I'm working, right? So like I said, inner battles you will have battles in terms of convincing your partner or family members
Hmm.
or parents. All those things will happen, but first of all, you need to test the waters. You need to understand how this entire thing works, because a lot of people also claim on the internet that it works overnight. Okay,
Yeah.
so many videos and ads that I
Hmm.
created an agency, I did this, I made so many lakhs of rupees. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I am totally not with all those things. I think that it is a slow process. If
Yes.
you're really really good at it, it will work, but it is just that you need to determine the speed and the scale at which you want to do things.
You want to do
Okay,
things.
so convincing part, yes. If you have a very clear why, the how and what will follow. And once you
Absolutely.
are convinced, and once you do that math of income and expenditure and savings and investments, then I think you are far more convinced. And then if you are convinced, that everybody else will see that confidence in you, and they will automatically get convinced. So once
Yes.
once they start to see you do that with a lot of commitment and passion,
Yes.
then they are automatically convinced that acha, this guy is not going to sit idle. Okay, he's into something and he's probably devoted more than what he
Mhm.
was earlier. So I think that itself, your actions speak louder than the words.
All
Yeah.
within the words. Absolutely. Absolutely. That was a great uh, input, I can say. So, Anand, your content journey has been phenomenal, right? But what's even more impressive is the consistency and the clarity in your voice, right? So, how did you find your tone? You know, uh, uh, the nation wants to know. So tell us more on this LinkedIn content and this virality. You have 125K followers on LinkedIn, 135K subscribers on YouTube, 15 million plus views on you for your YouTube videos. So tell us more about this.
I can tell you few things. One is practice. Okay, I just told in this call itself that I started to write in the year 2012-13. which means I'm writing for the last 12 years at least, right? So practice. I have written blogs which nobody read. I have written Quora answers. Then I have written a LinkedIn post. So it took a lot of time and practice to get here. So first of all, this is not my day one. This is my year 13. So you
Yes.
cannot compare somebody else's first month to my date or my year 13, right? So first of all, that I have
Yes.
been through a lot of stuff, and you don't even know, or nobody knows how much I know did not work or
Hmm.
still does not work. Okay. So that is one. Second is about consistency, is like 3 4 years ago when I started to write on LinkedIn, I used to feel that okay, I have to write 2 posts per week. How will I do this? It used to look like a lot, two
Lot.
three posts per week, which means I need to think of new ideas. I need to think of newer topics and post 3 times in a week. From there, I have reached a point where I'm writing at least 2 times per day.
Per day. Yes.
Right. So now I'm writing at least 14 posts per week versus 2 posts where I started.
Hmm.
So again, it's a journey. Once you practice and once you get into that rhythm, you yourself will discover ways of or find out answers. What people forget or don't understand is that all these social media platforms are built for distribution.
Right.
So LinkedIn platform has nothing against Deepthi, or LinkedIn platform has nothing against Anand or Vivek or Anshuman or anybody. Everybody is equal.
Hmm.
Okay. So it is not that Anand ka post is going to go viral, Deepthi ka is not going to go viral. There's nothing of that sort. Platform's job is to distribute, and a lot of people are worried about how this algorithm works. Why is my post not getting reach? Why is this
Reach.
guy's post getting reach? There's so much of time we are wasting. You have to just understand the fundamental thing. They created the platform so that people can write. Once people write, the platform distributes. That's it. Now, once the platform distributes, there are people who are going to read it.
Hmm.
If you are writing for those people, if those people connect with that post, then they will engage. Once they engage, the platform distributes it even further. That's it. So if you understand what your people are interested in, what are they able to relate to, uh, and if you are able to write in a way which strikes a chord with them, then that's it. You don't need to worry about algorithm. uh,
Correct. True.
because because each platform is different. Okay. So
Hmm.
today I'm successful on LinkedIn and YouTube. That does not mean that I'll be successful on Instagram or Twitter.
Hmm.
Each platform has a different way in
Print.
which that content gets distributed. So you need to also study those platforms. So I spent a lot
Hmm.
of time. I
Hmm.
did probably some 4 or 5 courses on LinkedIn, how LinkedIn works. I did at least 3 4 courses on how YouTube works. I hired few consultants to learn that. I did spend so much time, energy, efforts, money to actually understand how this works. And that is how today what you see
Hmm.
is a result of all of that. Okay. It is not
Yes.
just my mind. It is so much of learning that I did over the last 4 or 5 years.
Yes.
And again, like I said, if I go on Twitter and write the same thing, it won't work. If I go and create the same video on Instagram, it won't work. I have already tried that. Okay. So you have to understand the platform, how the distribution works, and at the end of the day, you have to understand the audience. And if you are
Correct.
able to make that connection with the audience, everything works. And it works for most people who are able to get to this point.
Absolutely. I think that was a really a golden nugget for people who have just began or people who are actually thinking that, what next? How can I increase my followers or my post that can go a little more viral and get more impressions? But I think this is
Uh,
it because you don't have to think about it. It's just that you have to understand your audience and write for them.
Correct, absolutely. So, like you said,
Hmm.
most people have this goal of impressions, a goal of followers. Okay, that's the outcome.
Right.
Okay, how many followers you get or how many impression your post is going to get is the outcome.
True.
What is the input?
Input.
You have control over that input. Okay, so you have to think again about what am I writing? Is it
Hmm.
really something which my audience is interested in? And like I said, don't expect results overnight.
Overnight.
Even today when I have 150,000 followers, that does not mean that all of my posts are going to get 1,000 likes or 2,000 likes. Some of
Absolutely.
my posts even get 10, 15 likes, and then I'm
Hmm.
thinking, acha ye kya ho gaya, why it did not resonate with people, right? So the numbers matter, but they don't matter. At the end of the day, you have to think about why this worked. So there is a lot of thought process which needs to go behind anything which worked. So
Correct.
you have to think about the emotion, you have to think about the structure, okay, you have to think about the punch. Okay,
Hmm.
so these three things, how do you really trigger that emotion? For example, oh, this guy is writing something which I really, really relate to. Or
Hmm.
this guy is writing something, kya bakwas likha. I mean, this is really horrible. This doesn't, or what a lie. This does not happen. Okay. कुछ तो emotion trigger हो रहा है. Either it is agreement, either it is
Hmm.
frustration, either it is happiness, joy. Some emotion is getting triggered by what you write. And how do you structure when you're writing? How do you structure? Like right? There is a
There's a
well-known
yes.
format that
Yes.
you write a book, then you write a story, then you write a CTA and whatnot. So everybody
Yes.
knows that by now.
Yes.
But how do you really structure that in a way? And I'm talking a little advanced here.
Hmm.
How do you really write in a way that it looks good on the smartphone?
Hmm.
So this phone,
Yes.
the screen that you have. I used to do this a lot earlier. Now I stopped. I used
Hmm.
to write a post which used to get covered in a single screenshot.
Yes.
Why? Because I wanted people to take screenshots and share.
Wow.
So उसमें मेरा नाम भी आ रहा है ऊपर, my name is there, that content is there. They just take a screenshot and put it on WhatsApp.
Yes.
So, like I said, it's a little too advanced. But what I'm trying to say is, once you know the structure, once you know the format, and once you know the emotion, then it is also about the punch. So if you are
Yes.
not able to give that punch, uh, people will just scroll. Okay,
Yes.
so
Correct.
like they say, thumb stopping or scroll stopping post. More than that, so that the hook will probably stop the scrolling, but the engagement will come by the last two three lines. So how you
Yes.
end the post is equally important, because that's how you will get that person to either comment or like or share. So
Yes.
that's how it is.
Because at the end of the day, it's engagement what matters, right? As you said, linkedin distributes the content, right? So when you have that kind of an engagement is when LinkedIn will also act in that same direction. So I think a very strategic insight that you gave, that your smartphone and how people can take screenshots. So definitely I'm going to try for sure. So again, truly inspiring, Anand. But there's something else that stands out as much. We've seen you deliver hard truths, right? Uh, in the most relatable and razor sharp way, right? As I said, you share bindas wisdom, right? Uh, whether it's your post, whether it's that punchline, whether it's a perspective shift, right? Uh, you call out the corporate culture, then you talk about the career clickbaits, and even if it's just giving people the push they need. Your writing style is bold, it's witty, and it's real, right? And inspired by your signature bold, bindas, and brutally honest style, I have tried something different today, something fun, something with a twist. So, with
Okay.
your permission, I'm going to share my screen and show you a few custom memes. Okay.
Oh wow.
I have created just for you and for this episode. So, it's my interpretation of Anand style career truths. Okay.
Oh, okay.
But
Interesting.
here's the deal, I'm not going to ask you questions. Instead, I
Mhm.
want you to look at the meme and tell us your first reaction or your interpretation or a deeper truth behind that meme. Okay?
Hmm.
No
Okay, let's
filters,
start.
just being you. So, are you
Okay.
ready for it?
Yeah, 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 very much.
Okay, thank you. So, all right, let's go for it. So, here you go, Anand. This is the first meme. What do you say on this?
Work hard and stay consistent, take on more responsibilities at work. Mm, yeah, I think this is reality. I think, okay, so let me put it this way: the harder you work means that you will get more work,
Hmm.
right? So if you really perform well, you will get the limelight, but then you will get more work. So you have to be ready for that, because that's the only way you grow. But a lot of people like are saying, "Acha, मुझे ही सब काम क्यों मिलता है?" Right? So like it is saying, work hard and stay consistent and take on more responsibilities, right? But at the end of the day, you have to also see about whether you are repeating the same thing over and over again for years. So if I'm working hard, okay, I'm doing great, but am I repeating the same thing which I did in year 1, in year 5, year 7, year 10? Then it means I'm not growing, I'm not learning anything new. So like what it is saying over there, repeat the cycle, but at the end of the day also add something new or something better which will take you to the next level.
Superb. Let's go to meme number two. Here it is.
Okay, when your KPIs excel, but your career stays permanently under review. Yeah, I think the harsh truth there that you meet all your KRAs, you meet all your goals, and then you get into the appraisal, and then you get to hear that this year we don't have budget, this year promotions are on hold, or we'll talk about it 1 month or 2 months down the line. I think very relevant uh, career. I think planning requires you to also think ahead. So I tell this a lot to a lot of people that don't wait for that appraisal period. Okay, don't wait कि अच्छा appraisal में I'm going to go and ask for a better role or a promotion or something. Do it early. Okay, do it ahead of time. Don't wait for that, because that's too late. Okay, if you go and do it in the appraisal meeting, it's too late. Ask for more work or better responsibility or bigger role ahead of time, so that you have got enough days to prove yourself. In the appraisal you can then talk about what you did. So that's my take on that.
Absolutely. So, here we go.
When you realize even the office coffee machine has more of yeah, I think again a very funny one. I really like it. A
Yes.
lot of time people make this mistake of not asking. Okay,
Hmm.
so important to ask for what you are aspiring for. Don't assume that your boss or your manager or who is the leader, they will notice it. So even if they notice, there is competition, right? Sometimes they may not even notice. So you have to raise your hand, you have to ask for any chances or opportunities that you want to take. And there is always competition, so a manager may have 10 people or 50 people reporting into him or her. So it's important that you ask for that upgrade, and
Hmm.
not just ask but also act. But like you said, if you don't, then the coffee machine will get more upgrades.
Rightly said.
Oh
How about
yes, yes. So there are
they
two
ask
three.
for a promotion, but they give you employee of the month to keep you
Yeah,
quiet?
I was talking to somebody recently last month, I guess, and that person said, I escalated something and I went to the HR, and I told the HR whatever pain I'm going through. And after that meeting, as soon as I came after that meeting, my manager recommended me for an award. So that was like a clear action coming out of that escalation which this person did. So, like I said, it's very cleverly put out there that a lot of time companies are trying to retain you or make you feel better by doing
Mm.
different things for you. There's nothing wrong in it. But if you tell me that I'm the employee of the month, also tell me when will I get promoted.
Yes.
Right? So it's about being transparent. So, okay, I did a great job. I'm employee of the month. Thank you so much. But if I'm not getting promoted this month, then when? Next month, next quarter, next year, that transparency has to be there.
True. Well said.
Employee covering for everyone's mistakes and staying late. Yes. Manager. Okay. I know. So, so visibility. This is about visibility, right? How we think that our work is going to get all the visibility it deserves automatically. It rarely happens.
Hmm.
Very rarely your work is going to get appreciated and going to get into the inboxes of the right people. Mostly your manager is walking away with the credit. And then, of course, the manager may have a stake as well. But then, if you are not getting your due credit or visibility, then you need to figure out ways and means of gaining that.
Absolutely.
It is not that straightforward, but you at least have to get out of the mindset that it will happen automatically. It is not. Second is, some people are like, अच्छा it's okay ना अगर मुझे credit नहीं मिला, it's okay. I did not
Hmm.
get credit for this, it's fine, at least I'm happy doing my job.
Yeah.
So that mindset of that thinking will be
Hmm.
okay for only few days.
Correct.
Slowly you'll start to feel frustrated कि अच्छा now I'm not getting credit for anything and
Hmm.
everything, this guy is taking it. So
And
it's
that's what happens, right? People usually start with the small stuff, and then when they, get that limelight from the boss, they tend to do more, more, more. And one fine day, they realize that no, it's getting too much. I'm not getting the due, recognition for what I'm doing. The other person is getting benefited out of it, or it's
yes.
my boss or my team or whoever it is. So I think yes, rightly said. I hope you're liking my memes.
Oh, absolutely. Nice ones.
Okay.
When you attended all the meetings, stayed late, and even started laughing at your boss's jokes. Yeah, I know. So, like I said, probably in this meeting itself, that your ability to do the next level role is what matters. Okay, so I'm doing a great job at my current role, does not mean that I'm ready for the next one. So
Yes.
I may be a very good executioner, but that does not mean that I'll be a very good manager or leader. For that, I will need some additional qualities or attributes or behaviors. So I think one needs to understand that you may be working hard, you may be super good at what you do, but that is not enough to go to the next level. You will have to
True.
map your skill experiences today to the skill experiences of the next role, and then see if there is any gap and how do you fill that gap, and then ask for chances to prove that you can do
Hmm.
that.
I think that's very important to understand, and that's where most people lack, right? And that's where people don't understand where is it, the gap that is arising, and how do I start working on that? Very important.
All right, job portals comparing resumes like yeah. So it's a highly debatable topic, the way these things are getting done.
Hmm.
How there's so many talented people out there who can really do good job. They have the skills and experiences, but it is just that they don't know how to write a resume, right?
True.
And if they don't know how to structure a resume or how to put the right keywords or whatever, right, it is a lose-lose situation for both the candidate as well as the companies, because the
Yeah.
companies don't find these people and those people don't find the companies.
True.
So I think there's a lot of education and awareness that needs to be created
Hmm.
with respect to these basic skills, like how do you create your LinkedIn profile, how do you create your Naukri profile, how do you write your resume, because that is like a foot in the door, right?
Hmm.
I may be very good at talking. I may be able to crack interviews, but at least to get to that stage, I need to have an optimized resume. But
Absolutely.
unfortunately, I'm not even getting that because I don't know how to do that. So I think a lot
Mm.
of people who don't know that,
Mm.
they should hire some specialist. Okay, hire somebody who can do it for you. Not
Absolutely.
just about, it's not just about resume, but about
Mhm.
anything else. If you don't know finance, or you don't know how to do your taxes or income tax return, hire somebody who's a professional and who can help you with that. So I
Mm.
think that's how it works. You
Absolutely.
delegate that part to somebody who's an expert, and
Yes.
then you have double force to work with.
Absolutely. When you don't know something, accept it and take help. I think that's
Yeah,
the ideal thing one can do.
correct.
Thank you.
Claims to be a team player but deletes every email with collaborating subject. Yeah, I know. So a lot of this is happening, right, which we term under the header of office politics. A lot of people are doing these small uh, things like sending emails without copying you, or removing
Mm.
you from an email thread, talking to somebody one on one, and closing some action item without informing other team members. Uh,
Yes.
a lot of people do it with a lot of wrong intentions, and they
Intentions.
don't understand that these are the things which eventually will not lead them anywhere. But I
Mm.
think to a lot of people who don't get involved in such practices, they should also understand that it is important to raise voice, or it is important to call out when certain things of this sort happen, right? When a team member is acting too smart, or just trying to avoid you or keep you out of the loop, it is important that you talk to them one on one, or maybe if needed, talk to your boss and call that out so that it doesn't become a bigger problem.
Good issue. Right.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Just found out my podcast flopped. Okay. Guess
That
I'll
may
be.
be applicable to me. Already, you gave this answer in an indirect way earlier when we were talking about creating contents. But how about this?
Um, so, all right. So, let me put it this way. So, social media content creation is one. Let me put it this way. LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, whatever platform you talk about, these are basically marketing platforms, the way I see it.
Hmm.
It cannot be your main business. So if your main business is content creation, then you are in a very different business. I don't even know about it. So I don't even think about myself as a content creator. I
Hmm.
think about myself as somebody who can help people solve their career and job problems. And
Correct.
for me to reach out to those people, this is just a vehicle. So
Hmm.
LinkedIn or YouTube is just a vehicle to reach there. Okay. At the end of the day, the real thing is, how do I help people solve their career problems or job problems? So what is happening nowadays is that a lot of people are thinking that, okay, creating content on LinkedIn is my business.
True.
So, like example, one of my viral posts got some, let's say, 5 million views. Now what
Hmm.
happens when something of that sort happens? Other people start to copy your content. So
Um,
they will just take your post as is, maybe make some changes and make their own, and then they post it.
hmm.
Now, so many people message me, Anand, somebody copied your post, this guy copied your post, and I just royally ignore that. Because I said, okay, copy kar liya to kar liya, what will I do with it? Okay, it's
Yeah.
okay. Let them do what they want to do. Because what is happening is, my content is very much thought through. I write something because I know my audience, I know what they are going through, I know what they are in need of, right?
Correct.
Now, if somebody who is in a very different profession, let's say a MBA student, a recruiter, or maybe some self-employed person, if they copy my post and if the post works for them, it's fine. But what are they going to get for with it? Just
True.
views. At the end of the day, the influencing thing, okay, if you have X number of followers in the content business, what is that going to do? That is
Hmm.
probably going to get you some brand deals.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, acha, this guy has 5,000 or 50,000 followers. A brand will approach you and then tell you, okay, talk about my brand. I'll pay you 5,000 rupees or whatever, 10,000 rupees. That's it. So that's the content business. Okay. On YouTube, so many people or so many companies reach out to me and say, okay, can you collaborate with us, talk about our product and all of that. I have not done it yet. Maybe I'll do it in the future. But as of now, I don't see that need to promote some product or company, because I don't see that as a revenue for me as an influencer or as a content creator. So my main goal is to produce content which relates to the audience, and because of which it creates an impact. So I think influencing or content creation is a different thing, and
Hmm.
using social media to create your brand is a different thing. Okay, so
Different thing.
those are the two things. Yeah, it's a long
Yeah.
answer, but I thought it needed
No,
that
no, no.
space.
That's, I think, rightfully put across. That was so much fun. I think we are done with the meme thing. Thank you so much. It was such a fun, also packed with some truth bombs that you just shared. Uh, Now that we have seen your style in the meme form, let's talk about the real journey behind it. We may take few more minutes. So, shifting the gears now, if you look back at your corporate life versus the life you have built now, what's the one lesson you had to learn outside the system? Something that no manager, no boss, or no job taught you, but was essential for your growth?
Ah, you mean a lesson, like a life lesson or something?
Yeah, yeah, anything. I mean, that you had to learn on your own, which none of the education system or the corporate life taught you, and which you're actually living by now. Versus if you compare your corporate life and the life that you've created now, what is it that one thing that actually helped you, that was essential for your growth?
Okay. So I think it is like this. You might have heard that famous speech from Steve Jobs where he talks
Mm,
about connecting the dots
dots.
backwards, right? You can
Yes.
only connect the dots backwards. So that's why a lot of things which are happening to you today probably are happening for a reason, so that they can probably be a stepping stone for the thing in the future. Okay,
Mhm.
it may or may not, but in most cases it is. Whatever we are going through today is a stepping stone for us to either learn or either gain, and then move on with it, right?
Mm,
So I think uh, what I mentioned earlier in the session today is we tend to overestimate a lot that we can achieve in short term. Okay, we start to think, अच्छा ये जल्दी से हो जाएगा, I will make so much money, I will get a lot of followers, I'll probably get a bigger role. We tend to overestimate it a
yes.
lot, that what we can
Yes.
achieve in the short term. And the other side is also true, that we tend to underestimate what we can achieve in the long term.
True.
Okay, so if you have the patience, and if you know that this journey is going to be of ups and downs,
Mm,
and a lot of downs and a very few ups, but you know that once this starts, it is going to go like up only, like the stock market in the last maybe 20-30 years, right? So there will be a lot of ups and downs, but eventually it's going to go up. So
mm,
if you are prepared mentally that in the long run what you can achieve,
mm,
and if you have that long term vision, then you will have to let go a lot of short term successes,
mm,
right? So like I said, today I may be at x number of followers, or y number of views, but I know that in the long run, if I just keep at it, this has immense scale. Now I don't know when that immense scale is going to come. Okay, it may just come with one post, one video, tomorrow, today, next
mm,
week, but I know that there is potential. So that's
mm.
why I am not overestimating what I will achieve in the short term. I am always thinking about what big can happen in the long term, and for that I have to show up. I have to uh, treat it more of a process than anything else.
Correct.
So to conclude, I can just say that, think about it like this: you went to school for 12 years, then
Mm,
you went to college for maybe 4 years or 6 years,
mm,
and then you did a job for 20 years, 30 years.
Hmm.
All these years you were fully committed to do that,
Yeah.
right? When you were a student, 12 years, every single year you were passing one class. When you were in
True.
engineering or wherever, one year you were going to the next. So you were committed to something, and you put your blood and sweat, 8 hours, 10 hours, 15 hours. Same thing with your job. So anything that you want to do now which is not traditional or conventional, like
Hmm.
me, what makes me think that this will happen without that?
Yes.
नहीं होगा. It has to be done with the same commitment. So if I'm
Absolutely.
thinking कि अच्छा कुछ magic होने वाला है and all of a sudden I'm going to become public figure or a celebrity, it's not going to happen. I have to think about it like what commitment I gave in my college, in my school, at my job, and that's why the number of hours or the kind of efforts that you're going to put are going to be exactly the same. In fact, they may be more. So
Absolutely.
it's
So
not
true.
easy at the end of the day. I can't think of it like a shortcut. It is not. So
Hmm.
to answer your question, that's probably the thinking which I developed over a period of time.
That's a great advice, in fact, for the people who are looking to, get out of their comfort zone, who are looking to grow, go to the next level, I think. But somewhere this kind of a mindset has to develop, right? If they really want to grow, if they really want to rise to that next level. I think well said, Anand. Wonderful. Uh, Anand, you've done so much. You've built a brand, you've created impact, you've coached thousands of people, right? What's next for you? What's the next leap that you are envisioning? What's Anand 2.0 like, looks for you?
Okay, so I I'll also share one more thought here. So I am a firm believer of doing fewer things.
Hmm.
Okay, I don't want to get into too many things. I
Hmm.
want to do fewer things and I want to do them well. And like I said, I realized that I was not good in technical work, and I realized I was good at support or analysis or management. So I transitioned from there and then I stick to that. Okay.
Hmm.
So similarly over here, that now I know that I'm good at social media, I am good at writing, or maybe decent at YouTube. I know that, okay, these things I have a good handle on.
Hmm.
So I would, A, not take anything else at this moment. Okay.
Okay.
So not take any leap towards Instagram or maybe towards any other platform, or maybe just do something which is going to disturb my entire focus. So
True.
a lot of people reach out to me for variety of projects, collaborations, and whatnot, and
Hmm.
I really think that, okay, maybe I can contribute, but then I think, okay, it's going to take away my focus. So I
Yeah.
just want to stick to my focus, because every single day I have to show
Hmm.
up on LinkedIn, I have to show up on YouTube, I have to do calls, okay, with maybe a group call or maybe a one-on-one call. So I already have a lot on my plate. If
True.
I start to digress, um, A, I will lose focus, and B, it will become again a corporate job, which
Hmm.
I told you was killing me because I was spending nights, right? So I left because I did not want to get 11 o'clock or midnight calls, right? So I don't want to create my own monster that, acha, now I've created a thing again that in order for me to maintain that, I have to work round the clock. And
Hmm.
this thought may be different for different people. That's my thought, okay? Um, there is something called as satisfaction, okay,
Yeah.
which either you get from the work you do, the impact you create, or the money you make. I mean,
Yeah.
material and the other thing, right, which is not material. So once you know what is
Driving
good
you.
your satisfaction level, when you
Hmm.
achieve that, and then you stay at that or maybe a little
Hmm.
above that, that's fine. Okay,
Hmm.
you don't have to really keep doing newer things or better things just for the sake of it.
True.
Once you reach a point, which I don't think I have, so to answer your question in a very precise way, I don't think I've even reached the peak of 1.0. So once I
Hmm.
reach there, then probably I'll do something really dramatically different. But till then, I just have to be at it and reach the maximum potential in this space.
and focus on what exactly are you doing right now and create more impact.
Correct.
Well said, Anand. Anand, one worst career advice that you ever heard of?
Worst.
Yes, worst.
I think one advice which a lot of people, as a manager, which they give to their team members, is not an advice, but more of a thought which is going to fill that person with a lot of fear,
Hmm.
which is like, acha, you know what, market to kharab hai, a market is really bad, and it is, you are lucky that you are still in this project. If
Hmm.
I release you from this project, you will go to pool or you will go on bench, and we don't have much projects, and you will probably be kicked out of the company after the bench period is over. So uh, it's like a discussion where you are telling this person that be thankful for what you have in your hand, and stay, and don't demand anything. Okay, don't
Hmm.
demand flexibility, don't demand promotion, don't demand salary, don't demand on site. Just be thankful to God that you have a job, because
You
you
have.
know what, so many layoffs are happening. So idhar
Yes.
se nikloge to you will be out on the road. I think
Hmm.
that kind of fear, a lot of managers or leaders, unfortunately, they use as a tool
Yes,
to
true.
retain people. I
True.
think that's not good. That's really the worst thing that can happen. But I
Hmm.
think as an employee or as an associate, you have to be mature enough to understand that if you have the right skill and expertise, if you are confident of what you do, then you don't have to fear about this job or that job. If you
Hmm.
have it in you, the companies will find you. You don't have to find a job. The jobs will find you. For that, you need to be in that zone. कि, अच्छा, this is my zone. I am a very good content creator, or I am a very good designer, or I am a very good AI, what, programmer or whatever. If you are in the zone, if you know that this is my thing and I'm deep in this, then people will find you. There was some post written, I remember, that recruiters will hunt for you, or they will find you inside the ocean if you are the right person, because the headhunters are looking for you. So you have to be that. Okay, a lot of people are actually working on skills or projects or gaining experiences which doesn't come to them naturally. So if it
Absolutely.
doesn't come to them naturally, they are average at it, and they're always fearful कि अच्छा
True.
यार ये तो problem हो रही है. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So that fearful advice, or using fear as a tool, is something which I really don't like, and I
Hmm.
suggest that people kind of build on their skills and their strengths and get out of that fear. Let
Yes.
jobs and recruiters hunt for you. You have to get at that stage.
That was really honest, Anand. And I think that sums up your brand so well. You bring truth with a smile, insight with clarity, and humor with depth, right? And as we come to the close of this episode one, Anand, thank you. Thank you for opening this series with not just your story, but with so much honesty, impact, and full of heart. And if there's one thing that I want our listeners to take away today, it's this: you don't need to have it all figured out to begin. But if you start with clarity and if you move with courage, you are already in the 5%, right?
Absolutely.
So this is just the beginning. Thank you all for tuning in to the debut episode of the 5% Talk series. See you next time soon with another conversation that challenges, that inspires you, and moves you one step closer to your own 5% path. Until then,
Awesome.
stay curious, stay courageous, keep showing up for your growth. Anand, thank
Thank
you
you.
so much
Thank you.
once
Thank you.
again.
Deepti. Thank you
Yes,
so
it
much.
means
Thank you,
a lot.
everyone.
Yes.
Thank you. Bye.